Welcome back to Reactioncast. It's your host, Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, here to give you another movie review. This time around, we're going to be talking about A Haunting in Venice.
Detective, you are here to discredit me, but I can talk to the dead.
I'd give all I have to hear my daughter's voice.
If someone wants to be heard, we are here. Listening.
Mom? Felicia? What is happening?
So we're ending the October haunting month, and it's actually November by the time this gets published out, by talking about a not so really horror movie. It's more of a mystery crime film, which I decided to go check out. And you know, I was still feeling just like I needed something to kind of quench my thirst in the horror, and this had some inklings of that. To my surprise, I did not know this was the third film in the series, and it's one of those things that actually is great in that sense, where it's a self-contained film, and I really enjoyed that. I know about the other two films, Death on the Nile, and oh my god, what's the other one? Murder on the something Express, something like that. And I know these films, and I never got the chance to see them. Now, after watching this film, it's definitely on my list of go-to to watch. But overall, it's like I said, I did not know this was like the third film in the franchise, but it continues the role of Detective Hercule, as he is to kind of figure out another murder mystery during a Halloween party, and where there is potentially a false psychic, basically. And there's like with these whodunits, it all depends on how well the mystery is played out and portrayed. And I felt that like I said, this is my first time watching this, and I felt that the plot was reasonably good. The subcast, the potential suspects, all had their own like motives and stuff, and it was very intriguing. Definitely, depending on how intuitive you are as an individual, you could probably like figure out the little things here and there. But even toward the end, it was interesting to kind of see I see, that's interesting. The plot themselves is like pretty standard. I like how they played with the space. Like I said, I thought this was a horror film going into it, and definitely knowing that, I kind of was glad and a bit surprised on how they used some horror elements into this, and I practically enjoyed it. I really did. And like, oh, okay, it kind of really worked into the story. And like I said, this is kind of the tale is pretty simple. It's actually based off a novel, The Halloween Party, and so you get this mother who lost a daughter, and she's trying to get some like closure through a psychic, and because of the haunting of the home she owns, the ghosts that linger there. And the cast, you got the ex-fiance, you got the PTS doctor, you got the psychic herself, you got the assistants, you have a cast of individuals, and I'm glad you got to see them all. But then you got the returning character of Detective Hercule, and like I said, I would have been interesting for me to have seen him in his other roles to kind of then be like jump into this one. But I'm glad that I got to see this one because it makes me wonder how he was prior to these films and seeing how his character was before this one, and kind of to see the evolution of who he was prior to this film. Who is he played by actually? Oh my god, why can't I remember? Kenneth? Why can't I can't pronounce his last name for the life of me. Kenneth Barnoth. I think that's his name. Kenneth Barnoth. Try and remember. I think that's how you pronounce it. If I'm mispronouncing his name, my bad. Like I said, but yeah, like I'm definitely gonna check out Death on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express because, like I said, his roles as the detective in this one like really intrigued me, and now seeing him makes me want to go see these other two films. Like definitely, I liked his character. Like how he portrayed him. I like that, and how he worked. The rest of the cast did a wonderful job themselves. None of them really overplaying too much. And for the most part, the plot itself for a whodunit, it was well paced and everything. And for having that little bit of a horror element added to it. They had some really interesting effects in here and there, and it really like gave you a bit of a jump. But yeah, overall, I definitely, this is, by the time this comes out, it's probably going to be out of cinema. If it's still in cinema, I would definitely try to catch it in cinema. But it's you can wait for streaming. It's a fun just whodunit. You can wait for streaming because yeah, if you're a big fan of these like murder mystery stuff and with a twinge of horror added to it on top of that, this A Haunting in Venice is definitely on your like pick list, definitely. And here's the thing, you don't actually have to, like I said, you don't have to watch the other two films to really like get any semblance of A Haunting in Venice. Like I didn't know anything, and I jumped in and already was intrigued with the characters and was getting used to the detective already without any prior knowledge, which gives a lot of sense to the film itself as a standalone. So those are my thoughts on A Haunting in Venice. Let me know your thoughts if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify. If you're listening to this on any of the past podcast platforms, you can always follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Those are the places, right? So, everyone, thanks again for listening or watching. Until next time, see ya.